Are you terrified of losing everything? What if you could lose everything in a blink of an eye? Your house, your car, your job, your kids, your loved ones. You wouldn't have time to react. But that's exactly what happened to these people. Welcome to my channel. Today, we will share with you the most terrifying stories of sudden loss. So let's get started. Lindsay Bonestall woke up in the morning and checked her mobile phone. She was shocked to see an email from her employer informing her that her position was being eliminated due to economic reasons. She couldn't believe it because she had been working for the company for more than 25 years. Lindsay had given her best years to this company and had never received a negative performance review. But now she was out of work at 55 and had no idea what to do next. Her retirement was supposed to be only a year away, but now she had to start all over again. She felt hopeless and scared. She didn't know how she was going to survive financially. She tried to call her boss to ask for an explanation or a compromise, but he didn't answer his phone. Apparently, he had decided to automate her job functions and replace her with a software program. Lindsay was devastated. She didn't have any savings to fall back on, and she could unbear the thought of having to move in with her adult children. She knew she had to do something drastic. So she took out a loan against her house and bought an RV. At least that way, she could live on the road. While she figured out her next move, she packed up her belongings and drove away from the only home she had ever known. Now she was alone in a strange place with no one to turn to. All she had was her dog, Buddy, for company. But Buddy got sick soon after they hit the road. Lindsay had to take him to the vet and spend her last bit of money on treatment. By the time she got him back, he was too weak to travel. She couldn't bear the thought of leaving him behind, so she turned around and headed home. She had no other choice. She couldn't afford gas or food for herself or Buddy. She pulled into her driveway, feeling defeated and hopeless. She looked at her house, which had become a burden rather than a sanctuary. She couldn't bear to go inside. Instead, she called her children and told them she needed their help. They came running, but they were angry. When they saw what their mother had done, they yelled at her for wasting their father's inheritance. Then they took over and forced her to sign away her house to them. She was left with nothing. She had lost everything. After a lifetime of hard work and dedication, it's a terrifying prospect to face, isn't it? Losing everything you've worked for, all those years of sweat, sacrifice, and dedication down the drain in an instant. How could this happen to you when you've done everything right? You played by the rules, worked hard, saved money, and planned for your future. But the rug has been pulled out from under your feet, and there is nothing you can do to stop it. Even worse, you're not alone in this. Millions of others are facing the same nightmare. Suddenly, the familiar faces around you are replaced with strangers. Your friends and family, who seemed so reliable, are struggling themselves. The very foundations of society are crumbling, and you're caught in the middle. With each passing day, the uncertainty grows. There are whispers of economic collapse, stock market crashes, and job losses. It feels like the world is holding its breath, waiting for the next shoe to drop. The weight of this uncertainty presses down on you. It feels like a dark cloud hanging over your head, blocking out the sun. Every day brings new challenges and difficult decisions. Do you hold on to your investments or cut your losses and run? Do you change careers or double down on your current path? Do you trust those in power to fix the situation or take matters into your own hands? These questions have no easy answers. The future seems like a minefield. Every step you take could lead to disaster. It's a terrifying prospect to consider, but it's one that we must face head-on. Have you ever experienced a sudden financial setback? Tell us about it in the comments section. We value your stories. Now let's move on to the next story. It was a bright and sunny day in the city. Michael Johnson was driving to work, listening to the radio and sipping his coffee. He was enjoying the beautiful weather and the cheerful music. But suddenly, the DJ interrupted the program with an urgent announcement. Breaking news: the stock exchange has collapsed. Investors are panicking as the Dow Jones Industrial Average drops 7%. Experts say the economy may face a recession. Stay tuned for more updates. Michael was shocked. He couldn't believe what he had just heard. He was an avid investor, and he had put his life savings into the market. He quickly turned on the radio and started searching for more information. He found that the situation was worse than he had imagined. The major banks had closed their doors, and people were rushing to withdraw their money. The government was scrambling to find a solution, and the media was speculating about the worst-case scenario. Michael felt a chill down his spine. He realized that he was in the middle of an economic meltdown. He knew that he had to act fast to save his fortune. He called his broker and instructed him to sell all of his stocks immediately. He didn't care about the losses anymore. He just wanted to get his money back. But when he checked his account, he found that he had lost half of his wealth. He was devastated. He could unbelieve that he had worked so hard for so long and lost everything in a matter of hours. He felt like crying, but he knew that it wouldn't help. He had to be strong and find a way to recover. Michael Johnson was determined to bounce back from the financial crisis. He started cutting back on expenses and living frugally. He also started working harder and taking on more responsibilities. He didn't want to be a victim of the economic crash. He wanted to be a survivor. And indeed, Michael managed to rebuild his fortune thanks to his resilience and determination. Can you recall a time when you faced a financial challenge? Share your experience in the comments below. Let's support each other. Now let's move on to the next story. Sarah Wilson was a young woman who lived in a small town with her husband and 2 children. They had a cozy house and a comfortable life. But one day her husband lost his job. At first, they were able to manage, but as time went on, their savings began to dwindle, and they were forced to make some difficult choices. Sarah had always been a hard-working person, but now she had to find a way to make ends meet. She took on extra shifts at work and started looking for a side hustle, but no matter what she did, it wasn't enough. One day she saw an ad for a job in a big city. It was a long shot, but she had to try. She left the children with her husband and moved away. For the first time in her life, she felt alone and scared. But she pushed through and eventually got a job. It wasn't easy. She had to work long and hard hours, and she missed her children terribly. But she was determined to make a better life for her family. After several years of hard work, she was promoted and became a respected member of the community. She had finally made it. She was able to buy a bigger house for her family and send her children to good schools. They were no longer worried about money and could enjoy their lives. Have you ever had to make a difficult decision to secure your family's future? We'd love to hear your story. Please share it in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more updates. Now let's move on to the next story. Imagine waking up one morning and realizing that everything you know and understand has vanished. That's exactly what happened to Jacob Collins. Overnight, his house disappeared. The walls, the roof, the windows, the doors, even the foundation, everything was gone. As if it had never been there at all. He stood there, dumbfounded, staring at the empty space where his house used to stand. He couldn't understand how this could have happened. He had paid the mortgage, the taxes, the insurance. Everything was up to date. There had been no natural disaster, no war, no riot, nothing. But when he looked closer, he saw something even more shocking. His neighbors' houses were gone too. The whole street was empty. There were no people anywhere. The cars were gone. The mailboxes were gone. The trees were gone. The whole neighborhood had vanished. Jacob wasn't alone. It wasn't just his house or his street that had disappeared. It was his entire world. His friends, his family, his colleagues, his memories, his identity. Everything was gone. He didn't know who he was or where he was. He didn't know what to do or where to go. He was completely lost. Was this the end of the world? Was he the only one left alive? Was he dreaming? Jacob was desperate for answers, but no one was there to give them. There were no authorities, no experts, no survivors. There was no one. If you found yourself in this situation, what would you do? Share your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to stay updated by subscribing. And that's all for today. Which story terrified you the most? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more thrilling tales. Thanks for watching. See you next time.